Oh, hang on, just let me get myself all centered and ready. I'm going to give me me peepers a wipe. That's not a euphemism before you start. Oh, hang on a second. I need to. Nearly forgot. Well done. Right, plenty of parishioners in the body of the Kirk this evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am. It's look, I know it's winter. I know it's cold. I'm from the north. I'm wearing 3 t-shirts. That's about as wintry as it's going to get. So, welcome to the body of the Kirk. I've had a bit of a. I should have brushed my hair before I started. Let me just. I just need to do something, and see if I can do it like this. Right, okay, and that. Oh, lovely, 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 lovely. Right, and that. Oh, lovely. And that. Ooh. The reason I'm saying this, and it makes no sense whatsoever, is because I've been researching all day. I've been doing me thing, and I've been doing me thing. And I did want to do certain things tonight. And I've decided to leave one part. I'm probably going to have to make a video over the next few days because it's so important and so detail-led that I do believe that tonight would have been information overload. There would have been too much of it, just too much of it. And I decided that, and I've also been thinking about how I'm doing these lives. So we've kind of morphed or evolved into something slightly smoother, but I still want to look at, because tonight is going to be in kind of 4 parts. And basically what I've tried to do tonight is I've tried to bring information that you may not have from anywhere else and to give it context, to give it clarity in the chaos. So, and you know, this is what I do on the lives. I decode things. I just give you simplicity. But in each quadrant of tonight, I am going to interact with you. And I want you to kind of get a grip of things. Ooh, Sister Mary, you monkey tart. Sit down. So, hang on, let me just bring this a little closer to me so I can. Oh, that's better. I'm probably not explaining myself very well tonight because it's kind of rattling around in here, and I haven't eloquated it. I haven't. I thought it through. I just don't know how I'm going to do it. So I've got the what. I just don't have the how. And what I want with these lives, eventually, I had an email from a friend the other day who we've been talking for quite a while about setting up a phone in. And eventually, I would like the Sundays and the Wednesdays to be a phone in. But I know how difficult and challenging doing a phone in is with the audience that I have, the size of the audience that I have. So it would be very time consuming. So I'm trying to balance things with doing unique videos and interviews that I'm setting up. I will let you know about those. And there's only me. So, and I have to have a real life, not just an online life. I have to have a real life. So it's that kind of 6-7. It's got to be the balance of everything. So I do thank everyone for still being here 3.5 years down the line. I thank everyone for your continued support and your hyping of the videos and your liking of the videos and anything that I'm doing. I really appreciate it. I just want to take it to new levels. And tonight, it's kind of, I'm going to try something out. And I've had to write it down for legal reasons. Yes, of course, last night, the initial live was, I've had to just disappear the original video because YouTube said, no, that's copyright. And I get it. but fair use and fair dealings. You are allowed to use excerpts of songs in fair use and fair dealings, which is why nothing's happened to the channel. But as I said last night with Donald Byrd, they're falling like dominoes. And today I watched PMQs, and I get that they're probably being absolutely squiffy for 3 weeks, and they may be struggling or may need a bit of Colombian to help them get going, because that's the Ozempic Palace is a wick with it. But I just felt it was theatre, darling. Theatre. There was nothing there. I mean, Kemi not good enough. She's just being aggressive for aggressive sake. And it's theatre. And, you know, Queer As, he stood up and went, well, you know, I'm a barrister. It was pathetic. Because the stuff I'm going to tell you tonight, that they've never discussed in the palace, but I'll guarantee you they absolutely know about it. And one of the things that I'm going to tell you is about, I'm going to explain to you how the New World Order is already in place. Nobody dare touch that. It's a bit like talking about Dominion and Smartmatic voting machines. They're not machines that you press. They're not like, touch screen and you press and you vote for somebody. No, they're the counting machines. I mean, they do touchscreen stuff, but the thing that I wanted to bring to tonight is prima facie evidence of corruption in voting. What do you mean, Rev? Nobody's touching it because everybody's scared of it. I'm not. I'll have my facts, all my ducks in a row, so I can tell you after journalistic rigor. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I couldn't bring you tonight, because I have to legally be on point. So, Louise Hampson, welcome to the body of the Kirk. Evening all, says Louise, and evening to you. Cuban Pete, one. Hello, Cuban Pete. And Stuart, evening, Rev. Are we going to see more of your funky dance moves tonight? Sister Mary might even join in. She did last night. I was wondering where the Jaeger bombs had gone. She was a bit last night. A technical term, obviously, that we use in radio. Let me go across there. So Andrew James, welcome to the body of the Kirk, young sir. And Andrew is trying to lead young Stuart astray. I dare you to add curry powder to your Jaeger bomb. The Rev will think he's in Studio 54. And so would my derriere, young Andrew. Hello, Adrian, says Sandra. Sorry, Andrew. Sir Andrew and Stuart, welcome to the body of the Kirk, both. Sandra says, hello, Adrian. It's freezing here, but no snow yet. Oh, don't worry. It's coming like Father Christmas. Just once a year. He just once a year. I've had 6 gags go through my head there, and I can't tell you a single one of them. So welcome, Sandra. I don't know whether you're playing tonight. I know Sunderland are. So if anybody could let me know the score, so long as it's a positive one for Sunderland. Just don't tell me that Brentford have scored. Yeah, Rollins. Stuart says, oh, Sir Andrew James, I couldn't possibly. Okay, I'll do it. Twist me arm. I just hope he doesn't find out. I say. So Andrew James is, there we are, I'm kicked off. So Andrew James is saying to Stuart, then play some Bucks Phase, and we can watch him rip the skirt off Sister Mary, and then have a big dog dick attack me. Cool, blimey. Chew me arm off. Right. So welcome to everyone, Lewis and the Bovril and Amalia, and Reg D's in early. Evening, Reg D. Welcome, everyone. Napoleon Blown Apart. Mad Matt UK. Matthew Whedon. You're sharing on X and Facebook. Oh, lovely, Matthew. So they'll get my ugly fizzog. Brilliant. Gene Sidekick's also in the body of the Kirk. Good to see you in the pews already, Gene. Good evening. I'm all ears, said Dumbo. Even my, me Earl Grey. Got my hot water bottle in my bed. Got me pyjamas on, so all set. Woo! Gene, I hope you enjoy this evening. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Just in case you get a bit peckish, there is some free Battenberg at the back. And altar wine, if you want to pour that into your Earl Grey. It's all free in the body of the Kirk. Hang on, what's Louise Hampson just said? I need a what? Hang on, me. Les Griffiths, Louise Hampson. I'm just fed up with Trump. Oh, Louise, I'm going to explain it all tonight. I'm going to make it really simple. I mean, I know he's everywhere, like a bad smell, but oi, Sandra, really? Sorry, Louise, I was distracted there a second. Yeah, I get it, but I'm going to explain it. I'm going to decode it all tonight. Clarity in the chaos. So long as you don't feel it's information overload, I will try my best to be entertaining. Sandra says, did you know that Kevin Keegan has got the big C? No, I didn't, Sandra. Well, I wish him well. Wish him long life and good health. Maybe one day I'll tell you me Kevin Keegan stories. Emma Blue, go on, Trump, USA. Evening, Enigma Blue. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Les Griffith says, we'll have to watch out for snipers abusing any phone-in. Yes, of course, I do like people trying to abuse me because, they just get abused back on phone-ins, of course. I did say we did something called a screen-free, where basically no phone up through the glass. They just rang through to me. And if they told me to Foxtrot Oscar, I would tell them to Foxtrot Oscar back and then dump it so they would hear it. And the following callers, the other 10 that were lined up to go on air, then got, oh, he swears, he's got a potty mouth. What do we do? I was going to tell him to Foxtrot Oscar. I don't know what to do. It's just fun. It's just fun. The best fun you can have with your clothes on, I think. So let's welcome. I see you, Louise. It's just a circus. Nothing is going to happen. Theatre, darling. I see you. It's theatre, darling. Les. Sorry, I see you, says to Les. As long as they don't sound like Beckham. Hello, it's me, David. Beckham Watch. Oh, have you seen the papers over the last few days? Oh, dear Lord. I wish they would just disappear. No, the old Bovril. There's no such thing as fairy in the body of the Kirk. We don't allow fairy cakes. Battenberg, because it has multiple uses, if I can say that. So, welcome. Oh, yeah, Enigma Blue says, press the likes, please. Press the likes. God, blimey, we've got nearly 100 people and 32 likes. Tough audience. Wait till you see what I've got for you. Maduro is reportedly begging for a deal and prepared to sing like a canary. What did I tell you, Les? Yeah, I mean, I know we're both on the same page, but Maduro is Somebody said to me the other day, you're repeating yourself, Rev, all the time. You're repeating yourself. So I don't know whether you're actually, the stuff that I'm telling you is landing. I've told you that Venezuela is not necessarily about one thing. It's like half a dozen things. But there's two, Battenberg, what? There's two very important things to do with Venezuela. And they're very simple. The central bank, right? And Smartmatic. It's absolutely got all to do with anything else because Trump wants all of the Democrats, the corruptons, in jail. So Bathos Barry's going, Big Mike, hello, they're going to jail. And, William Jefferson, he'll go for different reasons. Hillary, is she still alive? Is it just a clone? Or is it Memorex? Oh, God, I know he died. And I told you at the beginning of this live that what I wanted to do was something around Smartmatic and Dominion. I'm not going to say anything else tonight, but please just concentrate on two things. Not the oil, not the silver, not the gold. They're just, byproducts of a very successful... Wait, come here, you. We're taking you to New York. What for? Are we going to see the Christmas lights? No, put your hands out. We're going to put you in cuffs. I've been to those clubs before. So all of the other stuff is theatre. As I see you said. Honestly, I wouldn't be able to say that after 3 pints. After I see you said, the tankers, the merchant bankers, the tankers, the Venezuelan Russian tankers. I was going to try and explain that, but it's all theatre, darling. Cuba next, all theatre. Europe next, all theatre. And Macron, and I don't know what's going on between Macron and Starmer, but they seem very close. So they're putting boots on the ground in Ukraine. I still can't stop laughing because Gen Z are going, oh no. Merchant bankers, whoever said that. Les and I agree that Maduro is going to sing like a canary. He's going to cough everywhere. And he's going to tell the Americans what the Americans want to hear, which was the elections were rigged. That's what they're after. They're after putting the Democrats in jail. The Democrats are absolutely... it's brown. Everywhere they walk, it's brown. Everything's brown. Brown trousers, brown shoes, brown pavements, because they're shitting themselves so hard. The Democrats, that's why they never wanted Trump in power. So I'm going to explain all of that. I don't want to go on too long about that because, we're way past the bewitching hour. So let's get to the... God blimey, all these. Stuart says, that joke about Sister Mary had me in stitches. Did I make a joke about Sister Mary? I literally can't remember. So, yeah, both of them are bankers, Louise. So thank you, everyone that's in the body of the Kirk. So, the Democrats, they should be scared, says I see you. And Comic Mania, I'd arrest Maduro with a mustache like that. Have you not seen my El Trumpo video on X? It's the funniest thing. It is the funniest thing. And I do believe, because Trump has been, doing, what does he do? Well, however he dances. Melania's told him that's not presidential. Oh, Soul Rebel. Anybody see West Midlands Police give evidence to a select committee re the Tel Aviv football team? Shocking. No, I didn't. Soul Rebel. I wish I had, though. I would have enjoyed that. Right, let's get that gone. So tonight, I just want to reiterate to you that, look, I keep telling you, and during my sort of small introduction to tonight's live, some people say I keep repeating myself. That'll be the beans. But if I have to repeat, sometimes people don't quite get it because you're having too much fun in the chat, or sometimes you might not quite understand what I'm saying, or sometimes the deep dive is way too deep. So I'm just going to tell you this, and I'll condense it into a sentence. What I've been telling you for the last 3 years, 3.5 years, is that the media doesn't sell news. It sells narratives. Not agendas, narratives. And who controls the narrative? There you go. Your first question and answer session for tonight's live number 279. So welcome to the body of the Kirk. Welcome to live 279. Something that I want you to... Don't look over there. Look over there. Why would you look over there when you're being told to look over there by the press? When actually I'm telling you to look over there because that's where all the shizzle's happening. So why hasn't there been any reporting onto the break-in into J.D. Vance's house? Trans activist carrying a hammer. And it's not being reported in the newspapers in this country? Can you smell a narrative? So Klaus Schwab is he's back, head above parapet, and he's saying, look, lads, superpowers are over. Right? Superpowers are over. Have you told that to China and to Russia and to America and to Starmer? Well, what Klaus Schwab has come out and said, superpowers are over, but the World Economic Forum stakeholders will run the world. The thing that they've forgotten about is Captain James T. Kirk always beat the aliens. Always. So it's that freedom, that passion, that heart, that courage, they're all feelings within the human condition. And Klaus Schwab is saying that WEF stakeholders will run the world. I think we'll find they won't. Because when mankind turns around, those that are left after not, I'll leave that there. He's a funny old geezer, is Klaus. Isn't he? I mean, why exactly was he told to stand down? I mean, he was going to have the longest resignation in the world ever. He was going to stand down in January 2027, not January 2026. And then somebody said, oi, 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 Bonnie lad, come here. You can foxtrot Oscar, you're not stopping here. Well, what do you mean? Well, we believe, and there's the proof, we believe, so you can, off you go. But I'm Klaus Schwab. Yeah, you're a baldy-headed bastard that needs to fuck off. Oh, sorry, did I say that out loud? And then PMQs today, the only thing that these dab oils got a hold of was reform. And I thought, hang on. Every bloody PMQs. Starmer stands up. Well, I think he stands up because he only just reaches the dispatch box. Has somebody put like step ladders there for him? Reform. And there's a bit of a brouhaha going on because the Labour Party are scared witless about reform. They're absolutely going to do their knees before they get anywhere near the local elections in May, if they ever happen, and before they get to a general election, if it ever happens. Oh, don't worry. They're going to pull stunts. But Farage and Reform have announced today that Layla Cunningham is going to stand as their representative, the Reform candidate for the mayoral office of London. Hang on a second. Isn't she Muslim? But she's got a name like Cunningham. That's not a Muslim name. But she's Muslim. And I thought Aunt Middleton was going to be the Reform candidate for Mayor of London. Well, thing is, and you can correct me if you know better, that Aunt Middleton can't actually stand because he's got a criminal record. You can't become an MP or the Mayor of London if you've got a criminal record. He was done. Unlawful wounding and assault. But you know the irony? The British government hired him as a specialist to go and wound and assault and kill other people that they wanted him to kill. But when he does it off his own back, he's got to go to jail. Was going to talk about the Royals. Very quickly, what can I say? It's all kicking off in the royal family. It's not in the papers, but it's all kicking off. So Charlie, that's Charles the Weak, the King, Charles III, the Weak, the monarch, the king of this sceptred isle. Last year in charge, this year, 2026. So what does that mean? Well, it means it'll be King Billy. The Orange Men will love it. Not Trumpo, the Orange Men in... anyway, I'm not explaining King Billy to you. But, and I wish the monarch good health, long life. But, that Ginger Sphericals, he's well, he's still at it. He still wants protection. No, 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 no. What he wants is he wants internationally protected person, IPP, for his missus. Because once she gets it, and she has frequently, once she gets it, she's got it for life. Oh, do you know what that means? If the wife gets it, the nanny gets it. But who's the nanny? The wife's mother. So the wife and the wife's mother get it permanently for life. Correct. But what if one of the kids actually lives in England with its natural mother? Meghan didn't give birth. It's Harry's bairn, not hers. So why does she want IPP? Oh, I'll have my children with me, will you, bollocks? So what'll happen is, if Charles doesn't make it to the end of the year and it's King Billy, I think he'll be crowned early 2027. So if Charles the Weak kind of shuffles off, bless him, I hope he goes to the next life and well, they're looking after the carbuncles in his Lord and Majesty's house, of which there are many rooms in his mansion. I'm sure Charles will have a word saying, I don't like that, it's a carbuncle, you're wrong. So I think Harry, Ginger Sphericals, and his wife and the wife's mother are trying to get this protection. Now, he gets protection, he's a royal blood prince, but he's also fecked off. So let's just keep watching. Grab your popcorn, buckle up, buttercup. It's going to get bumpy for the royal family. That's why today, front page, it's, what did it say? How Kate saved the royals. She's looking bloody thin. You think she's got a stoma? Sorry, did I say that out loud? Hang on a second. You can't see my lips move. So Harry needs to get it sorted before King Billy gets to the throne. Because once King Billy gets to the throne, Ginger Sphericals and the handler are going to be kicking off big time. So, you know, the mother can't get IPP, so the mother can't take a blow with her on the plane. Because you know that IPP, the internationally protected person, doesn't actually have to show anybody at customs what they've got in the bag. Just way through. 3 bags of cocaine, 2 bags of weed, and a little ketamine for the uppers for the parties. That's just in general terms. That's, you know, what customs would say to anybody who might be IPP that might have drugs in their cases. Hand luggage. So that's why it's being pushed. I mean, I do wish Ginger Sphericals well, simply because he's admitted, you know, he's done a shit ton of gear in the past. He's readily admitted it in his book and every interview that he's done. Oh, yeah, I've done loads of gear, me. I've done ayahuasca, me. And I went to rehab. Yeah, the News of the World printed on the front page that he went to rehab. It wasn't just any old rehab. It wasn't even M&S rehab. It was a heroin rehab, a rehab that specialised in heroin addiction. So, Ginger Sphericals, talking about Brown, H, whatever you want to call it. Specialist. So, I'm telling you, the royal family, this year, King Billy, once he gets on the throne, well, once the king dies, and I do wish Charles the Weak well, long life, good health, but he's had his trials and tribulations over the last 18 months, as has Kate. But when Billy's on the throne, and he won't go immediately, he'll become king, and then we'll have a coronation. But it's 3 years since Elizabeth the Great died, Elizabeth II. 3 years. Where's that gone? 2022. And, you know, if he makes it to sort of autumnal, he'll be 4 years in the top job. King Billy's going to do decades and decades and decades. But the king is the king from the moment the previous king or queen dies. It's just the coronation for the official bit. I promise. So keep watching the royal family, because the brown stuff, and there's plenty of it, is going to hit the fan soon. Just saying. So as I said to you at the beginning of the live, let me start tonight with something that's been sitting uncomfortably in the background of the last few weeks. Now, I know we've been distracted by Christmas, we've been distracted by the new year, but there's just something being sitting uncomfortably with me. Not a headline, not a scandal. I would suggest it's a shift in tone, because sometimes history doesn't announce itself with sirens, it just clears its throat. Now, I know Louise said in the comments earlier, but over the last few weeks, Donald Trump has been speaking in a very peculiar way. He's not speaking as a candidate, not even as a president in waiting, but as something closer to a custodian of territory, if that makes any sense to you. There's been language about America's dominance in its hemisphere, language about spheres of influence, language that sounds less like diplomacy and more like ownership. We're going to run Venezuela. We're going to take Greenland. Now, before you panic, this isn't conspiracy. It's posture. Every empire, every great power reveals itself first, not through action, but through how it starts to talk about the world. And the way that America is talking right now feels different. So just before Christmas, Trump floated the idea of assembling a small group, a tight circle to run things. 12 people, a council, a board, call it what you like. Now, again, I'm not telling you what this is. I'm asking you to notice how it feels. Because councils are not campaign tools. They're not slogans. They're governance language. And when you combine that with rhetoric about hemispheres or dominance or control, something actually begins to take shape. Not a plot, a pattern. Now, historically, great powers organize the world in one of two ways, either through rules, treaties, institutions, shared language, or through zones, spheres, regions, ours, theirs. The second usually arrives when the first is no longer trusted. And I would suggest to you that what we may be watching right now is the quiet end of the post-war idea that the world is governed collectively. And it could be the return of something older, something colder. The idea that stability comes not from agreement, but from clear lines. Now, listen carefully to this next part, because this is where people often miss the point. This isn't about Trump being a villain or being a savior. It's about, and it's not about liking him or loathing him. What I'm saying to you is, it's about recognizing that he says out loud what other systems prefer to imply. When he talks about hemispheres, we control our hemisphere, he's not inventing the idea. He's reviving it. When he talks about control, he's not threatening the world. He's not threatening me and you as individuals. He's describing a worldview that says, Order comes from strength, not consensus. Now, that idea has never gone away. It's just been unfashionable. And here's where the dots begin to connect. Because at the same time as this language is emerging, we, you and I, are actually seeing something else. I've spoken to you over the last couple of months. Institutions are losing their authority. Treaties are being ignored. Wait till Farage and Reform gets into power and they've got to deal with the Seville Treaty. Borders becoming symbolic. And citizens everywhere feeling that nobody is really in charge, or that too many people are. If you look at Europe, we're getting it by the back door again. I'm not quite sure what I actually just did there. But the Europe by the back door. American, the orange man, President Brown Trousers, who thought he was still president when he wasn't even president. And then Barack Obama, who was president when he wasn't president. So in that kind of environment, the world doesn't drift towards democracy. It drifts towards management. And at best, these politicians are no better than middle management. Shit sandwich, anyone? What we're drifting toward is fewer decision makers, hopefully, clearer chains of command, simpler narratives. Not because, and you must understand this, I'm not suggesting that people are evil. You're not, I'm not. The psychopaths running the circus might be. This is all not because the working man and woman are evil, because they're not. The man and woman, the working man and woman are exhausted. So when people hear El Trumpo speak and feel that particular jolt, the sense of, whoa, 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 hang on, this sounds like a new world order. They're not mad. They're not conspiracy theorists. All people are doing is just responding to the tone. They're hearing a man speak as if the era of pretending is over. It's as if the polite language has been dropped. It's as if someone has said quietly, oi, 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 enough theatre, let's be honest about who runs what. And whether you find that reassuring or terrifying probably says more about your nervous system than your politics. Some people will hear that and think, oh, finally, clarity. Others hear it and think, oh, hang on a second, this is how freedom ends. But both reactions, responses, are better than reactions, can coexist. That's the tension of the moment we're in. What really matters, especially here, is not choosing a side too quickly. If you're going to choose a side, I'd rather be on the side of truth, integrity, courage. Because if the world is really moving from rules to regions, from consensus to control, from institutions to councils, then everything else we talk about tonight, media behavior, political theatre, digital identity, that is coming. There's something very important about digital identity coming in 5 minutes. So if you need to, go and grab a cuppa, come back, get your popcorn, buckle up, Buttercup, because I'm going to tell you about what's going on with digital ID that you absolutely categorically are not aware of. We'll talk about public obedience and moral panic. It starts to make sense. Everything, all that noise. And remember, at the beginning of his presidential first year, Trump flooded the zone, and then the Labour Party worked out, oh, if we flood the zone. And part of my sort of just being today and trying to centre things is we literally are being overwhelmed. We can't keep up with stuff. And that's why I do what I do on these lives. I try to cut through, bring clarity through the chaos, cut through the fog of war, the political war. So things start to make sense if you can grab a hold of it, if you can get the clarity, not as chaos. You can make sense of it if you start realignment. Now, I'm not telling you that we're entering a new world order. It's already here. I'm going to explain. What I'm also saying is that the old language, the old political language, is actually breaking down. And whenever that happens, power stops whispering. It starts speaking plainly. So that's where we begin tonight. Not with fear, not with outrage, not being morally indignant, but with attention. Because clarity in the chaos doesn't come from shouting at the storm, it comes from noticing which way the wind has changed. So Trump. Oh, you thought I was going to tell you about the New World Order then? No. I'm taking you by the hand and leading you and giving you layers so that you can work this all out yourself. Maimonides, the old Jewish prophet or thinker, the old Maimonides quote: give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime. So you know this declaration that Trump did a few days ago. Oh, American dominance, and we own this hemisphere. And everybody's like, Jesus, what's he been on? Well, he don't do drugs and he don't do drink. What's he been sniffing? Barmaid's apron. So following the American raid that captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, El Trumpo openly declared something like, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again. Hang on. Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, Western Hemisphere. Oh, who runs the East? Oh, that'll be China then. So the phrasing, as I said to you right at the beginning, dominance, Western Hemisphere, never be questioned. His very strong geopolitical language. It isn't frippery, it's assertive, territorial rhetoric. Now, along the same lines, the US Department of State have reinforced this, that this is their hemisphere, and that the administration will defend it against threats. Even if he didn't literally say, we own the Northern or Western Hemisphere, that is the implication people are interpreting. Because that's what the newspapers want you to believe. They're controlling the narrative. They want you to do as you're told, and they want you to believe what they're telling you. Now, I don't believe it, so that's why I'm telling you this now, so you can make your own decisions, informed decisions. The claim that Trump and America is about unquestioned dominance of the hemisphere. But in December, the Trump White House released a new national security strategy that explicitly reorients US policy toward asserting preeminence in the Western Hemisphere. In other words, make America great again. Make America first again. There was that newly articulated Trump to the historic Monroe Doctrine. I'm not going to go into that now because it's another deep dive all by itself. But very quickly, the Monroe Doctrine itself, historically about keeping European powers out of the Americas, is being rebranded by this Trump administration to justify a much more muscular American role in Latin America. Now, that's not fringe analysis. It's how foreign policy scholars are describing it. Recent actions match the rhetoric. So the US military, they go into Venezuela, they capture Maduro, and it was justified publicly not only as law enforcement action, but as part of a new approach to influence in the hemisphere. Trump's statements about we're in charge of Venezuela reinforce that America intends to be more than a neighbor. It intends to shape what happens next. And have you worked it out? You heard Les Griffiths in the comments say a little earlier. Maduro is going to squeal like, or sing like a jaybird. He's going to squeal like a stuck pig. He's going to tell them everything. And El Trumpo just wants one thing. It's not the oil. It's not Maduro himself. Although they will get a deal. It's the voting machines. Even the central banks pale into insignificance. They want the voting machines. Have you not worked out? That's why none of the newspapers are reporting it. They daren't. Because they know what's coming down the line, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. They know who's in the crosshairs of Trump. Grab your popcorn and buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to get bumpy. I told you that last year. US officials have publicly discussed controlling the region's political and security dynamics and even want American companies controlling Venezuelan oil industry reconstruction. I mean, what is there to reconstruct? It's going to take them 10 years to get the oil industry in Venezuela to get it up to a sufficient standard. But the Americans have already done this in Iraq. That's why they went into Iraq. No, not because Iraq was fighting Iran and they had to steady the Middle East. No. They went in and it took them a few years to steady the northern oil fields in Iraq. The Americans still run that. That's the only game in town, darling. And now today, everybody's like, oh, there's fresh talk. The Americans, Greenland, an Arctic territory, not part of the traditional Western Hemisphere. So the European leaders who are 50p sixpence, 50p sixpence, bloody hell, man. Their backsides are putting like a rabbit's nose. Louis Armstrong would have difficulty trying to keep up with them. So the European leaders, oh my God, what we're going to do? Oh, no, we can't have this. I mean, the Financial Times was talking about the European leaders being cited as another example of expanding strategic ambition. And the poor Greenlanders are going, no, don't give us the orange man. We live in Greenland. Hey, can he be green? Oh, we're back to Wicked again. Have you seen the new film? So the international reaction, because it's not a response, underscores actually what's happening. So at the UN Security Council, don't trust them, they're evil, as well as the World Health Organization, but the United Nations Agenda 2030, nobody's talking about that, are they? No! We'll be living in 15-minute cities next. So the UN Security Council and multiple countries have slammed Venezuela's operation as the Venezuela operation as a violation of international norms. And I was going to say to you, can you not remember Netanyahu? That's Bibi to his mates. Bibi Netanyahu in Israel, who the international court said, arrest him. If he leaves Israel, arrest him. And then Bibi Netanyahu went, oi. Hang on a second, because he sounds like that. Oi. Second, don't arrest me. Don't arrest me. I'm the Prime Minister of Israel. And Trump was like, just ignore them. It's only international law. We don't care. But little Kia and his mates, it transgresses international law. We can't have that. Oh, here, mate. Fox to Oscar. Just hide away and shite and tell us about the 3 Ukrainians. Seemingly, they're not back to court for a couple of months yet. How did that work out? So if everything's a violation of international norms, not because it was minor, but because it looked like a power play with regional implications, it means that Trump's done something and everybody else is going, you can't do that. You can't do that. I was just talking to the missus today and I said to her, if that orange fat bloke does anything with Venezuela, I'm going to be so apoplectically angry. But I won't do anything. Do you know what Europe's response was to American demands around Greenland? They just, as I say to you, they just emphasised sovereignty and the lack of borders. It shows that other nations see this as more than routine diplomacy. Oh, Hadaway and shite, man. They're just posturing. They're like, right, who's got the bag of cola? Are you going to chop it up on the bog cistern? And is bog an internationally diplomatic word? Ask George Michael. I'm in a Wellington boot. Both get sucked off in bogs. So you know what happens when the politicians get involved? Straight behind them, unfortunate term of phrase, the analysts. So the analysts are already looking at this, what's going on in the world in the Western Hemisphere and the Northern Hemisphere and that little bit of quarter that, oh, it's just Australia, leave it alone. They're not going to do anything. Oh, hang on a second. Isn't Mark Carney in Canada? Hang on. They're just a little bit above America. Mark Carney, he's been quiet for a little while. So's Canada. You know what's coming, don't you? Correct. Digital ID in Canada, digital ID in Australia. Oh, New Zealand's gone all quiet, but let's look at this. What's going on in the chaos of everything, the flooding the zone of everything. Commentators, the bullshit is in social media, both inside and outside of America, are now putting a name on this shift. They're calling this, we own the Western Hemisphere, the Dunroe Doctrine. It's a blend of Trump's nationalism with a revived hemispheric dominance policy. So some see this as a departure from post-World War II rules based on global order and how after World War II, the victors kind of divvied up the rest of the world. Japanese didn't get much. So they're trying to bring us the direction of travel towards something a little bit more transactional and sphere of influence orientated. So whether you choose to call this the New World Order or reassertion of hemispheric dominance, the patterns are visible. So a strategy has been declared with the emphasis on American preeminence in the hemisphere. Then, and it's only a four-point strategy, so the strategy's been declared, force has been used, so unprecedented military action with geopolitical intent, Venezuela. And then there's been a narrative shift with the words that Trump's been using, the rhetoric about being in charge of political outcomes. And then the fourth part, the international pushback. Everybody going, we're not happy. Well, shut the up. Should we go to war? Should we have a traditional World War III? So Trump isn't mumbling geopolitical poetry. He's naming a policy goal. US dominance in the hemisphere. And it isn't just Venezuela. It's a model. Strategic language, military action, economic leverage, and diplomatic framing. It makes it look like a sort of broader doctrine, if you will. So all the other hot air merchants are responding as if it's a shift in the rules of the game, not just a one-off event. So when you combine words and actions and reactions, the pattern looks like America is defining a new sphere of influence. Do you want me to talk about digital ID? Do Do you want me to tell you what is happening? Let me just have a look at some of your comments. Interesting, Les. World War III began in 2016, just not in the traditional sense. Comic Mania and Tom Harney's having a little conversation. Starmelin reckons he spoke to Trump twice over Crimbo. I heard that today. He said, oh, yeah, I'm in touch. Is he bollocks? I mean, this is a man that perpetually lies about everything. So, anybody who believe Starmer has spoken to El Trumbo twice over Christmas? Hello, Donald. It's me, Kia. Are you having a good Christmas, mate? I know you're a bit of a Christian. I'm not. I'm just, I'm agnostic, really. The missus is Jewish. Me kids are Jewish, but I just bullshit everybody else about everything else. So, how you doing, Donald? How you... Is that you, Kia? Yeah, Donald, I said it's me, Kia. Oh, fuck off. So he comes out and goes, I've spoken to him. So, I'm going to give you the meat in the sandwich. May take me 10 minutes or so, but you absolutely have to categorically listen to this. I know it could be information overload, but I'm trying to give you, just give you perspective, clarity in the chaos. So if you think that the Trump story was about tone, about power, speaking more plainly, then this is about something most people never look at until it's already wrapped around them. Infrastructure. Because the modern world isn't just run only by speeches and elections and bullshit. It's run by the systems that decide who you are, what you're allowed to do, and whether you are trusted. So I've just mentioned Mark Carney from Canada, and Mark Carney is bringing in digital ID, whether the Canadians like it or not, their carbon footprint, whether they like it or not, and a restriction on travel, whether they like it or not. And here's a little aside. Have you ever been to one of these virtual reality shows? I've seen I've seen one around Machu Picchu. I've seen one around Egyptian stuff that they brought from ancient Egypt, rather than put them in front of the dirty dabs of human beings. They've made it virtual reality. And you think that's not on purpose? Digital ID, carbon footprint, restriction on travel. You know where this direction of travel is going, you won't go anywhere. You'll have virtual reality headsets that you'll just experience in your own home. You won't travel anywhere because seemingly climate's changing. So in this new digital world, trust has one name: identity. Not identity like personality, identity like a key, a credential, a pass. The ability to prove online that you are you. And that's where something called the Kantara initiative comes in. I can't tell you this enough. The Kantara initiative. You've not had anyone anywhere tell you about this. The Kantara initiative. So if you've never heard of it, that's not a failure. That's the point. Kantara isn't famous because it isn't meant to be. It's not designed for headlines. It's designed for plumbing, infrastructure. Kantara is a non-profit industry association that sits inside the digital identity ecosystem and does a very, very specific job. It helps define and certify what trusted digital identity looks like. Google it. Kantara, Kantara initiative. But just think of it like this. Governments and standards bodies write the rule book. Kantara helps run the exam. And this is worldwide. This is legitimizing digital ID for governments, because governments will go, no, don't worry, we love you, go back to sleep. The Kantara initiative will make sure that governments can't do really nasty stuff. It legitimizes digital ID, because then they have the deniability of, we're not doing anything. So in the United States, Kantara runs third-party conformity assessment, kind of the big federal guideline for identity proofing and authentication. The Kantara initiative in the UK, Kantara certifies providers against the government's digital identity and attributes a trust framework. So it's not the digital ID. It's more like, you want the world to trust your digital ID service? Prove it. And this is where it links to what I told you about Donald Trump and the Western Hemisphere. Because when power starts talking in hemispheres and councils, that's the visible side. The flags, the claims, the theatre. But digital ID is the invisible side. And I told you months ago that whether you like it or not, whether you say you want digital ID or not, they're building the infrastructure. So when you say no, it means absolutely bugger all. Because they've already got you in the infrastructure. The NHS, the one gov. And you're going to have a digital ID to be able to use some of these, which is why I've already told you I'm rebelling against it by telling my doctor's surgery, you can call me up. Pick up the telephone and speak to me. I'm a human being. Sorted. So let's continue with the Kantara initiative. So basically what the Kantara initiative will do is, it's the silent, invisible mechanism that turns society into systems. And once identity becomes digital, the question shifts from what do you believe to can you log in? So here's why this matters, especially for trust collapse. People don't trust institutions anymore, not fully. They don't trust the media. They don't trust politicians. They don't even trust each other the way that they used to. Look at the last 5 years. Initially, when we were being locked down, we had people knocking on door and putting things through the post saying, look, I live down a couple of the doors down. If you need anything from the shop, I'll go and get it for you. So everybody was just, it's that, we call it the Blitz spirit, don't we? We call it the Great British Stiff Upper Lip. No, we can get through anything. So long as we're collective, we can get through anything. But now, people are angry, aggressive. And people are not as kind anymore. Now, look, I've told you before, I'm from the northeast. I drink beer, loads of it, and I eat strong curry. I'm a knuckle-dragging thug. I'm not some tree-hugging hippie kind. But now we're in a trust collapse because we've seen them. Michelle Moan, millions and millions and millions, tens of millions of taxpayers' money. Look at the corruption in Minnesota. Look at the corruption in California. The corruption in California and Minnesota is going to make Michelle Moan look like an amateur. But she just went with the process. She just went through with what she could, the VIP lane. Oh, yeah, there's millions, there's millions, there's millions. Because I'll guarantee you that she may be, MedPro might be the sacrificial lamb to save the face of other people who made even more money. It's a transference of wealth. And the trust around, nobody trusts anyone anymore. We don't, as I've said, trust institutions. Well, not fully. We don't trust the media. We don't trust politicians. So the system reaches for something that feels more solid than trust. Verification. It's not going to be, I believe you. It's going to be, I can validate you. It's not going to be, I trust your word. It's going to be, I trust your credentials. You see, that is the pivot. And the Kantara initiative sits right at the pivot point, helping create and certify the frameworks that say this is a high assurance identity provider. This one isn't. So this is where we keep calm and keep our feet. Because some people do, they hear digital ID standards and think, oh, bloody hell, it's the Chinese Communist Party, it's Klaus Schwab, it's communism, Marxism, socialism, it's the bloody Labour Party. Others hear it and think, finally, security. But the sober truth is much, much simpler. This is what happens when the internet grows up and stops being a playground. Banks, governments, healthcare systems, employers, they all need to know who they're dealing with online. And because the internet is global, I mean, look at the arguments between America, whether it was J.D. Vance and Keir Starmer. Oh, we have free speech in Great Britain, we have free speech, and the Americans are going, bollocks. The internet is global. Identity standards become global too. So you're going to get industry bodies like Kantara creating the bridge between government requirements, technical standards, and real-world services. NHS, anyone? So what's the real deep question underneath all of this? It's not, is digital ID evil? It's, does digital identity serve the citizen? Or does the citizen become a subject of the system? Does digital identity serve the citizen, or does the citizen become a subject of the system? Because the same tool can become either a convenient key that makes life easier and gives you more control over your data, or a central choke point that can be used to exclude you, nudge you, punish you, or quietly gate your life. The technology doesn't decide that. Governance does. And the tragedy of modern life is that governance is often decided in rooms where ordinary people are not invited. To reassure you, I'm not here to sell you fear. I've told you, my role in all of this is to bring you clarity in the chaos. So I'm actually here to give you clarity. Kantara is one of the organizations building the trust layer of digital identity. Because by certifying providers against standards in the UK, that doesn't make it a shadow government. It makes it a keystone. And in an era where trust is collapsing, keystones matter. This is 2026 now. Because the future is not going to ask you, what do you think? Look what happened with Brexit. The politicians are never going to allow you an opportunity to do anything that isn't in alignment with what they want you to do. Poor David Cameron, pig fucker, he never believed that you were going to vote for Brexit. They're still upset at Bojo the clown for going, oh yes, we'll make we'll save loads of money. Les makes a very good point. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the comments posting twice. It's a glitch in the matrix. But Les makes a very good point. Society cannot function without a functioning government. We have to ensure politicians are not career politicians and penalties for corruption are severe. Agreed, Les. 100 years, starting tariff. So as I say, the future is not going to ask you, what do you think? Like Brexit, and look what happened. It's going to ask you, can you prove it? And that's why I wanted to talk about it tonight. It's not because it's sexy, but because it's structural. Clarity in the chaos means noticing the machinery while everyone else is staring at the fireworks. I know I've got a great critically thinking parishioners in the... Rich, you've got it in one sentence. Kantara is just a verification system, a standard to adhere to, but it gives the politicians deniability. Got nothing to do with us, governance. It's just standards, mate, standards. But the scary thing is standards worldwide. If I have time tonight, I'm going to get to a proof of the New World Order. That's why I'm layering all of this. Kantara is just part of the puzzle. So what is Kantara in one line? Rich has got it. Kantara, just a verification system, a standard to adhere to. But who's deciding the standards? Technically, Kantara is a non-profit identity trade association that runs certification, trust marks, if you will, and work groups around digital identity and privacy. The one question I know that you want answering is, who runs it? Well, it is governed by a board of directors, named publicly, and a leadership structure set out in its bylaws. So it's not run by the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab and the Chinese Communist Party, or a political ideology based on anything I can find in primary documentation about Kantara's governance. But what I can say is people often project big anxieties onto quiet infrastructure. And let's just take it a little deeper. How did Kantara and the Kantara initiative actually emerge? Well, Kantara launched in 2009 and absorbed continued work that had been done by earlier identity standards groups. Especially, can you remember the Liberty Alliance project? That was dissolved in 2009 and lists Kantara as its successor. Now, Kantara later operated as a program under the Industry Standards and Technology Organization before becoming an autonomous corporation. So let's go a little further deep. How did it end up working with governments? Because it's a real solution for the politicians to say, not us, government. We're not having anything to do with that. Deniability, deniability, deniability. Governments set requirements, and the market needs independent assurance to show they meet those requirements. So Kantara positions itself as that third-party conformity assessor or certifier. So to make it really, really, really simple, 4 points. Government writes the rules. Kantara runs the audit. Companies get certified. Citizens use the services. I'll give that to you again. It's really simple. Government writes the rules. So Kantara runs the audit. Kantara has to adhere to the rules written by the government. But the government then has deniability. Got nothing to do with us. It's a third-party company that's running it all. So government writes the rules. Kantara runs the audit. Companies get certified. NHS, one government, anything else that you have to prove yourself to. And then me and you use the services, the NHS app. But I know you're going to ask this, so I'm going to answer it. How does this tie to trust collapse? So when social trust drops, systems lean on verification. How many times have you had to log in today? I've had to log in to Facebook, LinkedIn, all the social medias. You have to log in now. And I have the Facebook app on my phone, and I just go on for like gardening groups and stuff. And I have to log in. I have to use either my email or my mobile phone number and a password. Digital ID is going to do exactly the same thing. It's going to become the gatekeeper for your access to services. Certification bodies become the referees of trusted enough. Now, I know the critical thinkers will be going, all right, clever clogs, where's the citizen empowerment bit? Well, Kantara's ecosystem, and that word is now creeping into the lexicon of language more and more and more every day. Ecosystem, ecosystem, ecosystem. It just means possibly a whole 360 functioning. But Kantara's ecosystem includes privacy, forward concepts like user-managed access, and consent-related specifications referenced in an industry communications about Kantara's work. You can Google it. And I will guarantee you that empowerment happens only if implementations make the citizen, that's me and you, the controller of permissions, not just the object of verification. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to create the infrastructure where you have to log in, .gov.uk, NHS, anything else that you have to, whether it's driving licenses or passports, or you have to verify who you are. There used to be a time where you just had to use your driving license. But now I had to use my passport biometrics to verify who I am to LinkedIn. Social media, using my biometrics to log in. Are you verified, Adrian? You get a blue tick or something. So there is, I'll give you another sort of 5-step reassurance. So the government has rules right at the very top, and that'll be the National Industry Standards Technology. And then under that will come the Kantara certification criteria. then there will be accredited assessors. And then under that, there will be the identity providers. That'll be your banks, the apps, the ID firms. And then right at the bottom of this 5-point pyramid, it's going to be me and you. Citizens access. So literally, if you can't log in, you don't have access. Login equals life. You'll be logging into everything and you'll think, oh, it's fine, because, well, nothing's going to happen. And if you've got nothing to hide, why would you kick off about it? Because the Russians and the Chinese, what about all of these data breaches? So remember this. Trust collapses, verification rises, identity becomes infrastructure. So if the Trump part of tonight was about power speaking more plainly, what I've just told you about the Kantara initiative was about the quiet machinery being built underneath us. So next, if we have time, is about how people are guided through all of this without ever being told it's happening. Has Starmer stood up at PMQs and told you about the Kantara initiative? Has Kemi Not Good Enough stood at the dispatch box and asked him about the Kantara initiative? They're all the same Billy bullshitters. Systems don't succeed by force. They succeed by emotions. And the question is no longer what's being built. It's, hang on, how are people being made to feel while it's being built? So we're going to have a couple of questions, I think. Des says, I tried to get verified, and when they went down the road of, we need this and the other, stopped. Feck 'em. It's like Facebook. It wants your inside measurements of your trouser leg. Oh, but this, it's for convenience. And, well, if you don't log in, then you're going to lose out. So, first question. And it's an obvious question, and I don't want you to intellectualize it. I want you to respond with how you feel about it. So question 1, remember it's 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for, bugger me, I've no idea. Do you feel that digital systems are being built for you or around you? Do you feel digital systems are being built for you or around you? Everybody's got it. Wonderful. Gene Psychic, Comic Mania, Sandra Whittam, Lewis, Des Ashton, Rich, Matthew Whedon, the Overall Gribbo, and Ray Norton, and I See You, Sandra James, Albert Metcalf. Wow. Mad Matt, Angelic Inspirations, Stuart, Steve Barnes, Burnsy, Des Ashton, everybody, Reg D, everybody. And as Kaz says, built for them, not us. Tom Harneys and Les Griffiths and William Commons, Amalia. Amalia asks a really good question. What do you mean by around us? So if it's not being built for you, it's being built without your knowledge. So it's being built around you without you knowing. I'll give you an example. While I was at the BBC, I did an election night. We had a the Northeast voted for whether it wanted a regional government, a regional governance, because they thought that, well, just the thick Northeasterners, what are they going to know? And the Northeastern people told them to foxtrot Oscar. We don't want anybody else meddling with our lives. We didn't want anybody else to have a regional government in the Northeast. I mean, admittedly, it's a couple of million people in the Northeast. 2.5 million. Didn't want to have a government. But what the government didn't tell the people of the Northeast was that they'd already found the building, constructed the government chamber, and they put all of the infrastructure in place for when the people of the Northeast said yes. And the people of the Northeast didn't. They said no. So that's what I mean by being built around you. They're not telling you. They're not giving you information. Because if they did, that would be for you. Transparency, letting you know what everything is. It's just being built around you without your knowledge. Exactly, Lauren. To monitor and control. That's exactly it. I think Theo Bovril, again, a good point. And this mass digital system will have priority over energy resources. Hence, the people will have to put up with power rationing. Oh, that's coming. That is coming. There was another great point that I wanted to do in amongst all the voting. Rich, you've said something that is kind of depends if it's a service or for commerce. But if you don't log in, you can't buy anything. So what they'll do is if you want to go and do your online Tesco shop or Asda shop or Waitrose shop, if they think you've spent too much money, digital ID will stop you because this is already in China. The Chinese are already under this digital ID. So I'm going to ask you another question. Unanimous. Big Brother is watching you. Of course, Lewis. So I'm going to ask you another question. Ray Norton makes another great point. You'll soon be refused medical help if you don't eat or drink what they tell you. Now, they're already talking about the Americans being obese and how they're going to bring things in to bring their weight down. And in this country, I saw a politician talking about it earlier today, about how people are obese and we need to do something about it. So digital ID will be, oi, laddie, are you having too many Diet Cokes or Sprites or whatever? Oh, I quite like them. Well, you're not allowed to like them because you're a bit of a laddie. So out walking and you can eat crickets and locusts and that's all you're going to get. That's your protein for the day. And we thought it was science fiction. We thought it was all bollocks. Rich again says, it's already in place. There's a sugar tax. It's just the start, Rich. Yeah, exactly, Les. Post something critical of the government and your card will be declined. The computer says no. And that's why people... Then nobody is being allowed to see. They learned from Brexit in 2016. Don't give the public the vote. Because if voting changed anything, they'd abolish it. Look at the screaming and ranting and raving since 2016 about Brexit. So I'll ask you another couple of quick questions. 1, 2. When trust collapses, would you rather have human judgment, 1, or automated verification, 2? So when the trust goes and you need to sort something out, would you rather have human judgment, somebody on the end of the phone, 1, or automated verification, convenience, 2? Hang on. Everybody's saying one. Everybody. Phil Levan says Leanne would pop tax replace sugar with a aspartame that makes kids fat. Yeah, I know. It's all kinds of shit in what we eat. Soylent Green is people. Sorry, Vixtex, I can't bring to mind what Soylent Green is. Literally, Sir Andrew James says it more bluntly. We're going to be fucked either way. Not if the politicians believe that if they do what they're doing, we're going to deselect them at the next election, which is why they probably put the next election off. And the local elections. So thank you to everyone for their votes tonight. I kind of, literally everybody is anti all of this. But I'm now going to talk about sort of, when I talk about the daily newspapers are only there to promulgate a narrative, not the news, and they're only there to make you feel and manipulate you that way. I would call it sort of emotional herding or narrative management. So when you pick up, so for example, when you pick up the most popular newspaper in this country and it says one for the road, Labour B-test blitz, it's bollocks. Because most people, in my experience, and my experience driving on the road, they're lunatics. There's more drug driving going on nowadays than drunk driving. Both of them are unacceptable. But this, well, you might only be allowed 1 pint. 1 pint and 10 spliffs. They've not mentioned drug driving in this reportage in the daily newspapers today at all. And the reason why I wanted to kind of say to you or talk to you very quickly about yeah, exactly, the Umarium meme, drivers on gas. They're all because the human condition, people don't have integrity a lot of the time. Well, the audience here in the body of the Kirk, the parishioners, do. But I'm saying to you in a broad brushstroke that what I want to talk about is emotional herding, getting you to think one way and emotionally react one way to whatever they're telling you, whatever narrative they're promulgating in the newspapers. So when infrastructure changes, and that is coming slowly, emotion is used as a lubricant. I'll name them for you. Fear, urgency, moral pressure, moral indignancy. How bloody dare you? So what I'm going to cover is why media simplifies complex systems into good and evil frames. Look at the newspapers. We'll have the Sun and the Daily Mirror. The Daily Mirror, so far up Labour's arse, it won't be able to see the light of day again. And the Sun, well, they don't care. White van man. And what I'm also wanting to present to you is how safety becomes the emotional lever. So if it's being presented to you as being safe, Kantara initiative, that becomes the emotional lever to open the door for you to do as you're told. And why dissent is increasingly framed as, oh, dangerous, conspiracy theorist. Not wrong. Dissent is dangerous, but not wrong. When you have a president's wife getting 10 people found guilty in a court of law, I don't know whether they've jailed them or not and how long for, but she's never denied anything. And what I'm about to tell you is to illustrate how people are nudged towards compliance without orders ever being given. They just manipulate you. And I will say this to you. People don't consent to systems. They consent. to feelings. So maintaining the Kantara initiative, or staying on that particular direction of travel. The Kantara initiative is a global non-profit industry body. Global. Not Britain, not Europe, not South America, everywhere. Global. It's a community of governments, tech players, identity experts, and standards advocates working on digital identity and personal data trust. So it exists, or will exist, when we get to know it, to help certify, standardize, and improve how digital identity systems work across the world. Put simply, it isn't a government or a regulator. It isn't digital ID itself. It's the industry consensus engine and certification hub around digital ID. So you will have a digital ID. The Kantara initiative will look at what your reference is, who you are, and it will certify, yes, that is Adrian Allen. That's who he says he is. So it will sit at the crossroads of private technology and public trust. So think of it as the body that says what trustworthy looks like in the world of digital identity. As I say, government writes the rules, and the Kantara initiative is just responding to what the government is telling it. So this is why it matters right now. Traditional identity, I've already mentioned them: passports, driver's license, utility bills. Remember, how many people would go, can you, if you're going to do that, can you bring in a utility to prove who you are? Are you on the electoral register? Bring that. So what they all are physical, local, and analog. Digital identity is the online equivalent, a way to prove who you are without showing up in person across multiple systems and services. But that's what the government want, because then they can digitize everything. The sky, the grass, the ground, everything will be digitized. Look at the World Health Organization and the United Nations Agenda 2030. Look at it. They're digitizing everything on planet Earth. And it's those that sit above that don't allow us, me and you, to have any say whatsoever. They're just going to sit there on their nice yachts sailing around the Med, and we're doing it via virtual recognition glasses. The Kantara initiative helps set the rules for who gets to claim what identity online. So you know that your identity online means you won't be able to sign into YouTube and use a nom de plume, nom de guerre. On social media, you're going to have to be who you said you are. Here's where all of this gets strategically profound. Digital ID is becoming foundational infrastructure. It's not kind of up there, a needs must. Foundational infrastructure. So once digital identity systems become widespread, they can be used for banking and financial access, travel and border control. Too much carbon? You're not going on holiday. Healthcare systems, the NHS app, voting. Oh, we're back to Smartmatic again. Oh, bend me over and Roger me stupid. They think we're just not capable of thinking. You know what'll happen now? We'll have a bloody Labour government for the next 500 years. Oh, did I say they were corrupt? Oh, did I say they were going to rig things? Public benefits. Whether you're a pensioner or whether you get any kind of benefit from the government, you're going to need it for employment verification. Hello, I've turned up for the bar job. Have you got a digital ID? No, you can't have the job. And even more important, encrypted communications. So if you're on WhatsApp and you haven't logged in via your digital ID, so it becomes, this is really simple. I know it's profundity, but it's simple. It becomes the key to participation in modern life. Now, if you're a regular here, I said more than a few months ago, I said to you that it will be defeated, but the infrastructure will be there and the world will move on, modern life will move on. And then when Farage gets into power, I have no idea why I've just pointed over there. When Farage gets into power, he'll turn around to you and say, look, I don't want digital ID either, but modern life has moved on so far that we're going to have to implement it. So reform, Farage, and the next government will have no choice. They've built the infrastructure, and to function and participate in modern life, you're going to need digital ID. And it's whoever defines the standards gets the disproportionate influence over who is trusted online and how. So putting it really simply, Kantara helps define those standards. So 1, who's making the money from it? 2, who's making the money from it? 3, which corrupt arsehole is making the fucking money from it? Oh, sorry, did I say that out loud? So Kantara won't just certify, it will help shape everything. And I don't, Rich says, right to work checks are already in place. Once big firms and government organisations adopt a digital ID scheme, it will become the norm. Rich, if you've got to use biometrics to log into bloody LinkedIn, the infrastructure's already there. But it's the decision makers above the Kantara initiative. Government writes the rules. Kantara doesn't just certify, it helps shape the technical and policy standards themselves. It collaborates rather than corroborates with bodies like the US National Institute of Standards and Technology, the International Standards Organization, W3C and other standards consortia. So you see, this is where the architecture of digital identity is being defined. The protocols, the privacy protections, the interoperability requirements, and yet those deviant feckwits in Ozempic Palace, they're not telling us any of this because the government writes the rules. The Kantara initiative just implements them. And this is global. This is not Canada or Australia or UK or Europe. China's already got it. America's getting this. America's in the same place as us. They don't know what to do. As Des says, you will own nothing and be happy. Yeah, well, at least I'm not a racist. So the initiative, Kantara Initiative, runs expert groups that develop frameworks, guidance, and recommendations on things like interoperability between identity systems. So this means, in essence, the NHS app can talk to the One Government app, can talk to your pension or benefits app. Interoperability just means that everything can talk, a bit like the NHS can talk to the fire brigade, can talk to the police service. They have interoperability ways of working. So you're going to have mobile digital credentials. And then there'll be the next generation authentication tools. Jesus, I can't speak tonight. But the kids, it's all there at the end of their nose. They don't care. Everything's in their phone anyway. But 5 years ago, when we were all locked down, you could only have, was it up to 30 quid? You could tap up to 30 quid, and then all of a sudden you could tap up to 200 quid. And they're like, brilliant, it's in my phone. Don't need my card, it's in my phone. And that's how they're bringing the idiots through, because they love everything in their phone. Rich says, as long as Kantara defines systems as secure and the compliance is strong, it's got to be a good thing, right? Kantara is not the decision makers. The decision makers are the politicians. And it's the politicians that are corrupt. All of them. All of them are corrupt. They're corrupted by the power. So it doesn't matter whether Kantara actually is a transparent, above board and legal way of certifying who you are. It'll be the politicians that use it, have the deniability to say, we're not doing anything. We're looking after our citizens. We're not citizens. We're subjects of the crown. Europe are citizens because they've not got any, well, it's the great European super union. So all of the things that we've been talking about so far this evening, these are not accidental conversations. They are the discussions shaping how our digital selves will be recognized, verified, and trusted online. So here are the key takeaways for you that you can just sit with. Digital identity is infrastructure, like the roads or money, currency, fiat. So everything online depends on being able to prove who you are, identity securely, reliably, and privately. So standards bodies like Kantara help make trusted identity possible in a way governments and markets accept. And remember, I've told you, Kantara is not a government, but its certifications matter. So governments and large institutions recognize Kantara's trust mark. So a bit like when you're either on X and you're paying for your social media, or Facebook or LinkedIn, and they verify who you are, Kantara is going to be exactly the same thing. But they're not the criminals. The governments write the outlines. They give the parameters that Kantara will work to, the frameworks. Because Kantara's frameworks become the de facto rules for how identity systems are built and trusted. It's not science fiction. It's not from some film that we watched 20 years ago. Digital ID isn't a future concept. It's already in place in China. It's already in pilots worldwide, from healthcare to banking to border systems. Organizations seek Kantara certification because it gives them legitimacy and interoperability in a world where digital trust is currency. So, it's about who decides digital trust. Once identity becomes digital and global, the question becomes, who owns the mechanism by which we prove we are us online? Because whoever controls the standards, the credentials, and trust frameworks, even indirectly, government, has the influence over access, authority, and belonging. So, as has been mentioned in the chat tonight, if you don't agree with anything the government's doing, if you're a bit tubby and you're not eating correctly according to the government, or your carbon footprint is too big, you won't travel, you won't eat, you won't function in a modern society whatsoever. And this has been brought in whilst everybody was asleep. Nobody noticed it. That's the galling point. 2016 was the last time your government will ask you anything, because it can't trust you to do what they want you to do. So fuck yeah, they've just gone, right, we'll build it, we'll get it, we've got all the money, we've got all the taxpayers' money, we'll give hundreds of billions away to Ukraine and we'll let our elderly die in winter. Now, I'm telling you this now because this is why bodies like Kantara matter. They're not big headlines yet. Oh, can you imagine? You're getting this ahead of everybody else because then the moral indignation will kick in, and that's when they will try to control you. The old boxing adage, the man that angers you controls you. The government want you to be angry all of the time. That's why you see the shit in the newspapers. They want you to be angry, because if you're angry, they can manipulate you. So what I'm saying to you is, the big headlines haven't started yet. But before the big headlines start, as in the governance of the northeast of England, when the people said, no, off, the government are quietly shaping the architecture under everything that follows. Digital identity is the invisible infrastructure of the internet age. It's how private data connects to real people, and how governments, banks, and platforms trust it. So the government has to trust Kantara. I mean, I know it kind of sounds abstract at the moment, but it is foundational to how power and participation work in a digital world. I am so glad that I am the age that I am. I'll shuffle off in however many decades. And by the time I've gone, the kids that are coming behind me, the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha, because they're also asleep, I'll use it plainly and bluntly, they're fucked. I think I'm going to leave it there tonight. I have other things that I want to say around this. And I was going to get to a next part, which will prove to you that the New World Order is already in place. I kind of said it earlier. The Council of 12? You've never heard of that before, have you? It's the New World Order. Do your own research if you wish. I think that's Stuart. Thank you, Stuart. Really appreciate it. I'm not quite finished with this, so I may Gene Psychic, what you like. I may do some more on Sunday. And I know this was my consternation earlier. I was just very aware of doing these deep dives. Sometimes it's tough to listen to. Maybe I should just interview experts from places like Kantara. Cheers, Rich. As always, thank you for your support, young sir. Maybe I should get people on to talk about this. I'm not sure where Ghetto Defendant's gone, because he's pretty sharp on crypto. Thank you, Super Ted. But I will continue this for the next few lives, as well as other stuff. I'll look at what's going on in the world. But this is, you're not getting this from the mainstream media. You're not getting this from the TV. You're not getting this from the newspapers. You're not getting this from the radio stations. You're not getting this anywhere. Because without being disrespectful to other YouTubers, they're not really prepared to do the deep work. This has taken me a long time. But we're a community and we've got each other's backs. They can't be allowed to bring this in. But as I say, they'll build the infrastructure, as they did in the Northeast when they wanted a Northeastern government doing Hitler's work, obviously. So thank you to you all. Thank you for your support and your continued attendance to the body of the Kirk. Next live is going to be Sunday. Live 280. Blimey, we're not far away from 300. Thank you to everyone that was in the body of the Kirk this evening. You'll have noticed, and I don't have to point this out, but I'm going to. You'll notice that at the beginning or anywhere through, I don't ask you for anything, because I don't need to. But a like and a sub to make sure that you're connected to the channel, that's all I ask of you. And that's why I say it at the end, not at the beginning. So thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. My name's Adrian Allen. Be well, stay safe, and always have emergency Battenberg to hand. You never know when you're going to get into trouble. Please make sure that you leave the body of the Kirk in the manor. Don't upset the locals with being noisy and boisterous. And I see you on Sunday for the parish notes at 7:15, and then the live from 7:30. And whatever you do, wherever you go, always keep with you that the theatre of the mind is not a show, it's a mission. And the mission is truth, always. I'll see you Sunday, 7:30.